Welcome back. We are the Honolulu Blues Show, come to you guys on a fresh victory Monday. Yeah, we got it all. We got the Michigan State, I guess we'll throw there, and the beloved Lions flag. Yes, Nick's fine. The victory flag over there. Love it, love it, love it. Boys, what is up? Nick, donning the Michigan State hat. Some people might be thinking, what the heck, man? Their football season was a bust. Well, guess what? Basketball team came to play. It's basketball season, baby. So, you've been catching any of these Michigan State games?
No, but
They've been decent.
yeah. They actually, I mean, they look like they're probably going to be this is a Final Four team right now. They got so many returning players. They only lost out on like Christie. Like this team is ready to rock and roll. So I love it. I'm excited for Michigan State basketball. I definitely have this on, but major shout out to Michigan. Michigan State is nowhere near where Michigan is right now in football. That is incredible. They get TCU, which is the best matchup in my opinion. It's unbelievable. I'll let Julius talk and Adam talk more about that, but in my opinion, I think that's just the best matchup. I do still think they'll get overpowered by Georgia in the championship. You better be hoping OSU wins. Like, it's time to root OSU, as crazy as that may be. But Georgia's not as good as they were last year. So there is a chance. Jim Harbaugh can do anything. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I'm excited. I'll let you guys talk about Michigan, though. Enough about me.
I agree, man. TCU, I don't know. Julius, what were you feeling? Were you thinking that we were going to be playing Ohio State again in the first playoff game?
No, I didn't. Honestly, I don't think Ohio State deserved to be in the playoff. Ohio State is a farce. Okay, I'm gonna say it live on air. If you're on Twitter, you're a Buckeye fan. I'm sorry, y'all are farce. Y'all shouldn't be in the playoff. Y'all gonna get annihilated by Georgia. We're not even gonna see y'all. Ain't gonna be no rematch. So it's a farce.
Alabama is a better team than Ohio State. They should have. I'm sorry, but they should have made it in. Just because they lost 2 games on 2 last-second plays does not mean they're worse than, in my opinion, TCU or Ohio State. Spare me. Michigan it exposed OSU. They're trash.
They are.
Yeah. I will say, I don't know. Part of me was hoping we got Ohio State again just because I was like, man, I'd love to beat their ass in the playoff.
It would be sweet to beat them twice. It would be.
Twice. I don't think it's ever happened before. I don't think they've ever played 2 times this season. So it would be interesting. And I wasn't sure if the committee was something they wanted to like embrace. And part of me was thinking, man, they're totally going to have Georgia play Alabama because Bama didn't get to play Georgia this year. They're going to have Michigan play Ohio State and the ratings are going to go through the roof. But I guess they went the other route where, they made TCU the 3, the Ohio State and Georgia play. So now Michigan just has to win, and they get a very cool rematch. If it's the playoff rematch from last year against Georgia, or it's Ohio State in the finals, which would just probably be the most watched college football game of all time, honestly. So I don't care who we faced. It's going to be good. I just want us to beat TCU. Spread's 9.5, so hopefully the boys can get it done. But we're here to talk Lions football and talk about how us Lions fans can make the playoffs because, the doors, it's still open. It's not shut yet. We thought after, the Dolphins ripped our hearts out for like the 5th straight loss, but, 3rd straight bad one. We thought that was the end. The door was shut, but no. It was left a tad bit open. And thanks to our friends, I guess, Commanders, Giants, not so much last Sunday, but in the past few games, they've kind of sucked and, opened the door for the Lions. So it's going to get interesting. So we'll definitely talk about how the Lions can make the playoffs. There is some news that happened. The Okora brothers, they did the old flip-flop. We had Julian Okora was placed on IR. Romeo Okora was brought off of IR. He was activated. He did not play in the Jaguars game last week, but he is expected to play this week against the Vikings. Jameson Williams, he had 11% snap share. This was more of just him getting acclimated type game, just kind of like running the routes, getting the feel of being an NFL player, which I have no problem to. And also, I hope so much that they give him some more routes, let him, get some targets more than I think he just had. He had 1 target, and it was a very underthrown ball by Goff. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see.
No gunner routes.
Yeah, no gunner routes. That was interesting.
Why didn't he have any gunner routes? Because we
Yeah,
didn't punt the
that's a
fucking
great
ball.
point. Yeah,
Because we didn't need Jack Fox for nothing, dude. We're scoring every time, dude.
man, and like, hopefully Dan Campbell, that was like that. Like, hopefully he touts that. Like, oh, he was our punter. Actually, if we needed to punt, Jameson Williams was coming out and punting the ball, but we didn't, so he didn't have to. And I don't know, it worked out like that. So good job, Dan Campbell, one way or another. But if he's on Gunner next week, that'll be interesting. I'll get a firsthand look at it. So I'll be texting you guys, letting you know, giving some live tweet updates. But hopefully he just stays at the wide receiver position, because that was odd.
Do we have thoughts on that? I'm curious. Should we talk about that, or
the Gunner spot?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty big news to kind of drop before the game. You know what I mean? And just because we didn't get to see it doesn't mean it wasn't going to happen. Dan Campbell said he was ready to put him in there.
I don't know. Okay, so Julius, there's been some word, that he was a good gunner at Alabama, and he can play, this spot. So would you feel comfortable throwing him out there, even though, like, he could play the position? He's probably pretty good at it, but,
No, I wouldn't feel comfortable if he threw him out there. When I saw this news, I just hoped that it was fake and we weren't going to see it, and we didn't see it, which made me happy, because he could be a bona fide star receiver on our team, and he's coming off a major injury. There's no way I'm putting him in harm's way for Gunner. There's no way that's going to happen. Like, so I don't. He was a good gunner in college though, but college is different. That's different. And he didn't have a major injury he was coming off of when he did it. So I'm not down with it. I'm not down with that. Just put him at receiver. Everything will be cool.
I agree. Just keep it simple. Don't get too over your head, Dan Campbell. Keep it easy. But could you imagine if, like, I don't know, he was a gunner, sent him down there, and just made a dude fumble, or just some sort of big play on like his first one?
Have you guys seen any videos of him gunner at Alabama?
Yeah, there's highlights of it on YouTube. And if
I would hate to see it as a Lion, but he blows people up. He blows people up. It's crazy. Realistically, this is gonna happen. Like, I wouldn't talk about this like they're not gonna do it. Like, this is going to happen. I assure you, Dan Campbell does not fuck around, and I assure you, he says what's gonna happen, and he puts it out there. A lot of people are like, that's good smoke screen. Good smoke screen. There ain't no smoke screen. Just because we didn't punt doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. But I wonder if he's gonna be allowed to hit someone. I wonder if his gunner is straight up, get as fast as you can to
make the guy miss. Yeah.
If he catches the ball without a fair catch, I don't want you going after him. Just run past him and allow the rest of the special teams. I don't know if that's the smartest thing or not, but it would. I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you, we'll have to wait till next week. But I truly think that this is going to happen, and it's getting swept under the rug right now just because we didn't punt. And that's it. Or we'd be talking about the one or two punts where he was gunning, and we'd be like, what the heck? But
it's a good point. It's a good point. Well, didn't need to. Didn't need our good old Jack Fox out there, that was very cool. Jared Goff dominates in domes, in Ford Field. He's like, if he can like win every home game each year, give us 8 just wins off the bat, perhaps 9 depending on what the year is. I don't know. But that's a whole other topic. Lastly, a couple other notes. The Lions did bring in Joshua Dobbs for a backup quarterback position. He's going on the practice squad, but Tim Boyle got poached from us, just like who was the other guy that went to the Vikings? Come on. Boy.
No, here's the other one.
It wasn't Tim Boyle. David Blau. Yeah.
David Blau.
Yeah.
Boyle trash.
The Blau brothers. Oh boy.
And honestly, like, maybe who are the Lions? Did the Lions play any type of running quarterbacks? Because I know Dobbs is mobile, at least a lot more mobile than Sudfeld and Goff.
I don't know. It seems like we could have used him at the beginning of the season, not right now, before we play Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins and Mike White. No, I'm pretty sure we're not playing anyone who's going to be scrambling for $150 on us in the near future. But Dobbs is just a good player, I guess. I mean,
one other last tidbit on Lions news. We got flexed out of the CBS game for the Lions-Jets game. We are now going to be aired on Fox. I don't know what that means, but it's changed. So If you hate CBS announcers, I think that's like Tony Romo, the weird ones. I think it's Greg Olson, I want to say.
I don't know. Isn't CBS the night like 4:25? Oh, but it wasn't a 4:00 game, was it?
It wasn't, but it was like an AFC game, which I think CBS has a lot of the AFC games. So
yeah, I never like watching CBS. I always feel like I'm watching like
that's how I feel. It's something.
It's
like a different. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm so used to the home Lions announcers.
Right.
But
it's just like the tone. It's the song too.
Vibe.
You know what I mean?
Vibe.
When you listen to Fox and you hear that Fox music kick off, you're like,
yeah, that's exactly right.
Game time, baby. Yeah. Let's go, boys. Yeah. I like it. Bring it to Fox. You know what I mean?
Love it. All right, let's dive into this Lions win before we talk the Minnesota Vikings. All right, Nick, you blew this question for me, but my top question was I was going to ask you guys, did we punt? We already went over that. The answer.
Wow, sure enough, dude. I like to spoil things. You know what I mean? I'm wearing a Marvel shirt. You know, I'll spoil whatever we need.
You better not. All right. So we got that out of the bag. But do you know who the only rookie that has more sacks than our man James Houston? Our other man, Aiden Hutchinson, baby. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson and James Houston have a combined 9 sacks, which is pretty good. James Houston, 3 sacks in 2 games. He had 2 last week, 1 this week. He is seeming like a blossoming star. I'm not going to say he's a superstar because we have seen, the Kerry Hiders, all sorts of guys come in and get quick sacks and, have a solid season. Then they kind of flame out or the Lions just decide to let him go. But I gotta see a little more with Houston. But as of now, I'm blown away. His moves, he's looked phenomenal. He's looked really good. So, Julius, I'll just ask you first. Did Brad Holmes find another diamond in the rough with James Houston? Or is it still too early to tell?
It looks like it. It looks like it. Listen. Brad Holmes has drafted 17 players since he's been in Detroit. And legit 9 of them are bona fide starters. And it seems like James Houston is going to be one of them. So that's just a good thing. I mean, I honestly didn't see this coming. Of all things, I could have predicted. Kirby Joseph, I had a good feeling about. Jeff Okudah, I was real hopeful. I did not see James Houston getting signed off the practice squad and doing 3 sacks in 2 games. Didn't see it. I mean, Nick, can you remember a player so I guess I would say Craig Reynolds maybe where, he was just so random and then, he's rushing for 100 yards. You're like, who the hell is this guy? But granted, he was kind of coming into the good system and we see the Lions produce since then. But is, this James Houston thing, at least the best defensive type of, unprecedented player to come out of nowhere and, make a huge improvement his first couple games?
I don't know. I mean, it's up there. It's arguable with a lot of them for sure. There's a few names I could think of that made pretty big impacts. Jay Jacobs made a pretty big impact right out of nowhere from doing nothing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that goes along with this. James Houston, what shocked me was that he didn't even make the initial roster. Drafted in the 6th or 7th round, didn't make the initial roster. I thought it was going to be another one of who was the running back that we had drafted a few years ago and then didn't even make the team, goes to Philadelphia or whatever. There we go. No. And so he doesn't even make the roster, gives the practice squad, finally comes off. And what have we been waiting for? Why has he been on our practice squad so long? Like, this dude is killer. Last week he had 5 snaps, 2 sacks. I don't know his snap count this week, but he had another sack. That's 3 sacks. How many does Kayvon Thibodeau have? Anyone know?
2.
Oh. Tavon Walker?
2.5.
Oh. So this guy who's drafting a lot of Jackson State news kind of coming up now. Deion just goes to Colorado. He goes in there and says, y'all better get out. I'm bringing my luggage with me. I don't want none of y'all. I got my own decorations to put up over here. You can take it all. And Houston, this dude, I like it. I like that he's from Prime. I like that he's from Jackson State. I ain't gonna lie. Coached well by Prime. I love this guy. Diamond in a rough from Brad Holmes with Rodrigo and our boy. Are you kidding me? Houston and Rodrigo in the 6th round, just steals. Absolutely. I said this last week, Julius, you weren't here. Where's Chase Lucas? We've had enough injuries and problems in the cornerback problem. I thought when Amani had 5, flags in one game, I thought it was going to be Chase Lucas stepping up. Where is this kid at? Come on now. I want to see him. But other than that, yes, I love what he's doing. Better than Kayvon Thibodeau. Sorry. It is what it is. That's just stats. That's science.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. I will say, James Houston, one thing that he should give to all Lions fans is like extra reassurance of, oh my gosh, Brad Holmes. We have found our GM. You still might not have to be sold on Dan Campbell. You still might not want the guy fired, but every Lions fan is like in agreement that Brad Holmes, this guy's a genius. Protect him at all costs. Don't let him out the building until he wins us a Super Bowl. That's all us Lions fans can ask for, because his first 2 drafts, he's pulling guys out, first rounders that are 4th round and 5th round picks. And then halfway through the season, we get guys starting to blossom that, could potentially be, dare I say, a 1st round or 2. But the Amon-Ra and Rodrigo picks, those are that's what you need in your drafts to build through a draft, to build a championship squad, to build like the 49ers. Maybe the Chiefs. Yeah, I would say the Chiefs because they're pretty good at drafting. But all in all, the Saints for some time, stay young and just, keep a good core. And I think you'll have the most long-term success as opposed to, going out and buying your Super Bowl, which is kind of what the Rams did, kind of what the Bucs did in a way. And now it is a way, but I kind of like what Brad Holmes is doing. And man, if we can, it's also, I will say, making me feel a lot better about this TJ Hawkinson trade too, because we're getting more picks for that. And, the more opportunities for Brad Holmes to make picks, the more I'm getting excited for that. So
that leads me right into like exactly what we finally believe in. Like, honestly, at this point, I would rather trade we have the 15th pick right now ourselves, not the Rams pick, but our pick is 15th pick. I am so comfortable trading back to get the next 25 6th round picks from a team. You know what I mean? Like we'll take all the 6th round picks because God knows Brad Holmes going to find a stud. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th round pick. We will trade back we haven't drafted a 2nd round star since 1904.
It's coming too.
Well, so I'm thinking we don't even need to say it's coming. Let's just trade every 2nd round pick we have from now until 2030 for like 6th and 5th and 4th rounders. Like just get rid of the 2nd round curse, not even drafting that round. Let it be. Just let it be. Just let it be. And trust in Brad Holmes at the later round because he hasn't missed. He hasn't missed.
That would be sweet if the Lions, just somehow end up with like 1 1st round pick, like 6 third round picks, 5 4th round picks, 13 5th round picks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, just because we traded our seconds and our second firsts, which honestly, we can get all for it. Or honestly, man, do we trade the 1st and 2 seconds for Lamar Jackson? Do I bring the big question up now?
Julius might have a different opinion, but I don't like it. I'll let Julius go first.
No, I'm going to ride the current wave of Jared Goff to be honest.
Okay.
I tweeted out this.
I agree with you guys.
Jared Goff. Respect to Jared Goff.
Yeah, he's done. He's doing enough. And granted, if we did have the defense from day one that we have right now, I am confident he has at least one more. They're just one of these close win.
At least one.
You laugh. But hey, one win is like the difference between, the Lions possibly being in the playoffs and being, hey, this team's actually probably going to make the playoffs because their schedule is so easy. But we got a lot of help as well with this easy schedule. The Lions are favored. A little sneak preview for this Vikings preview. But all in all, to wrap up this, Jaguars win, the Lions, we played this game flawlessly. I will say the one thing that shocked me incredibly is when I thought James Houston ended Trevor Lawrence's season. I thought he was done for the season, ACL torn. I was like, oh my gosh, this stinks. I want to celebrate this sack, but I feel bad because that looked terrible. And then Lawrence comes back in the game in a blowout. And I'm just so like head scratching, thinking, man, at least, we are out of the Jaguars, the Texans, that, dark depths of, badness, just like you have nothing to look forward to. It's just, that's it. So I'm glad, the Lions have that going. I'm glad Lawrence did come back, but it was odd that he did come back in the game. So all in all, I thought even though he kind of was a bit banged up in the second half, I think we did handle Trevor Lawrence pretty well, considering he was, on fire his last 2 games, I believe. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think he just had 1 touchdown to Evan Ingram, which, of course, a tight end scores on us. But all in all, the Lions held the Jaguars to just 3 for 12 on 3rd down conversions. So that's phenomenal. Lions didn't even need to go for it on 4th down. We were 8 for 12 on 3rd down. So Nick, I got to ask you, was the Jaguars game our best game? Because at first the Giants game sticks out as the one that, we dominated from start to finish. But now this game, is this the one that really, solidifies the Lions being dominant against, bad teams?
Yeah, I mean, that's a two-headed question. Yes, this is our best game. Yes, this was our best game. 14 points to the Jaguars. They're not anything to really write home about, but they can score points. We saw that against Baltimore.
It's nice it wasn't a shootout,
Absolutely. Our defense held strong every time. And anytime there was a chance for the Jaguars to take a leap forward, we shut them down. It started with the second play of the game with the strip sack from Deshaun Elliott, recovered by Alex Anzalone. And it went all the way to the last snap when we barely we're holding them to 14 points. Like, that's incredible. We put up 40 points. We did not punt the ball. Was this our best game? This was the best game I've seen a Detroit Lions team play. I don't know, since our 8-game comeback. Like that. This is great. This is good. This is good. We like this. We like this. We like what's happening right now. We like what Dan Campbell is setting up. The Jaguars are a respectable team, but they're not a great team. No, we're not. We've beat one playoff team, and that's the Giants. That's probably the worst playoff team in the NFL right now, if you ask me. The Seahawks are better than them.
Hey, the
Patriots are better than them. The Jets are better than them. Okay, we beat one playoff team, and we've lost to 7 other ones.
That's true. I will say, I had a great tweet. Actually, one of my buddies said to me, I forget who it was, but it was like, he said, this was the first no sweat Lions win I've seen in a while. And it got me thinking, I'm like, yeah, man, like I didn't even bat an eye at this game from start to finish. I thought we were going to win. And there did come a point where in the group chat, one of my buddies will call you out, Connor Gaskin, you little downer, Debbie Downer, was like, oh, I don't know. Lions could be Lions. Never know. And I came back and said, that's what we were talking about the Giants game. And I felt a little different. And I didn't want to say nothing because, Lions are Lions. And, my little different was right. So this game, I said my little different. I was like, oh, no. This is different. Lions haven't dominated this whole game. We got this under control. And sure enough, they let Evan Ingram score a touchdown and close the gap to like 16 points. But then actually it was 18 points because they didn't get the 2-point conversion. And then the Lions took off and dominated. So all in all, this was a very satisfying victory. Julius, you got any thoughts on this? Was this, something where it was a nice tip of the cap to Dan Campbell for, stomping on a bad team and not just, beating them?
This is more than a tip of the cap to Dan Campbell. What we are witnessing is literally the greatest coaching turnaround in mid-season in Lions history. In Lions history, because they were 1-6 and we were calling for his job. Now his job is not only secure, but you got to give him praise. I mean, the team believes. They believe in it. I know everybody is seeing these post-game speeches that Dan Campbell's giving. The team is, they're lit. They're healthy. They're energized. And he's literally bringing out the best in this team right now. So it's definitely a tip of the cap to Dan Campbell. It's just I don't care about. Oh, it was the Jaguars. We haven't really beaten nobody. Like I said, we were 1-6. We should have beat several of those teams. It ain't like we got blown out by them. The Vikings. Listen, I expect the Lions to blow out the Vikings, to be honest, after what I just saw against Jacksonville and what I saw earlier in the season against Minnesota. We're going to get to it later, but I expect the Lions, this energy to continue. You know what I'm saying? Foot on the throats, biting kneecaps, in the words of Dan Campbell. But definitely a tip of the cap to DC. He's doing a heck of a job.
And I would be remorsed if we don't get through this show, and it sounds like we're almost wrapping up this Jags game, without giving a tip of the cap to the most hated man in Detroit for a minute, Jared Goff.
True.
What can we say about Jared Goff?
He owns Ford Field, man.
He lights it up a lot. He lights it up so much during the games, and it's those clutch moments that he doesn't do well. Well, if you never have a clutch moment because you're dominating from start to finish, that's where Jared Goff is extremely successful. And I don't know this stat off the top of my head, but if I had to throw a guess out there, when he was with the Rams, the amount of comeback wins he had was not that much. I bet he was very successful with double-digit leads, 2-score leads at least, 9-point leads or more. Give Jared Goff comfortability and a lead and no pressure throws, he can get you far. It's when he has to make pressure throws that's why we saw like the Super Bowl, but even getting there, there's some pressure throws. I'm not putting them all down, but tip of my cap to him. I know it started out great and it's already gone to some slander, but tip of my cap to Jared Goff. He looked dominant. ASB and Jared Goff have a connection like no other. Amon-Ra St. Brown the last 4 weeks is the best wide receiver in the NFL. There's no one better than him. There's not one. Get Devontae Adams, I think he has more yards, and that's it. Nuke, maybe. No, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's so good. Tip my cap to him. Anzalone has had so many good pressures and so many good tackles. All of these guys are really helping lead the way and pave the way. They all showed unbelievable, leadership in this win against Jacksonville. Just a great team win.
Yeah, 100%. These are the games where you gets you back on board with Goff. But now just stay the course, Jared. Don't, go crazy on us again. But 31 for 41, 340, 2 touchdowns. And honestly, I thought it was 3 touchdowns, but they called that Swift swing pass a pitch. So I guess he threw it behind him, and it was, a pitch instead of a pass. But he did pass it to him. It was just a backwards pass. All right. Let's talk a little bit about how the Lions, are we going to still be able to make the playoffs because of this tie? Me and Nick were talking about it a little before, Julius, but do you think this really hurts us, or is this something that you still think the Lions can overcome, or are you rooting for another tie come, Sunday Night Football when they play again in 2 weeks?
Honestly, I'm at such a positive point with the Lions. Unheard of positivity that I don't even care if they go make the playoffs or not. If they win out and make the playoffs with 10 wins or however many, 11, I don't know.
10.
But I would be happy. I'll be the same positive mindset I am right now. But if they lost a couple along the way in some kind of fashion, I think I'm pretty sold on where they should be at this point in year 2 of the Holmes-Campbell regime. And I'm taking it game by game. I'm looking at the Vikings game next. That's what I'm doing. I'm not even looking at other teams, really. Even though, I'm keeping an eye on scores, of course, But it's not like I'm like, oh, my God, please lose, Giants. And please win, Lions. No, I'm just thinking about, oh, man, we got a good shot against Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree. And Vegas does too, in which we'll get to in a minute. But next week, the Giants, they have to take on the Eagles. So if they lose that game, which is looking like it, the Eagles are 7-point favorites on the road. Should be able to stomp them. The Commanders, they're on bye, so they can't really do anything. But then they play the Giants again. So all in all, the teams that we do need to have fall out of place, they have tough schedules remaining. Me and Nick, we talked about this last week, and it's tough sailing for, not just the Giants, but the Commanders too. So real quick, the Giants, they play the Eagles, then they play at the Commanders, at the Vikings. Then they get the Colts, which is the one game we both agreed that they could win, and then they have to take on the Eagles again. So Nick, or Julius, I should say, do you see the Giants getting more than one win out of these next 5 games?
I think it's possible the Giants could bomb out, and I think it's possible the Commanders can bomb out. I think the Lions are better than both of those teams right now. I think the Lions are a better team.
Well, we beat them both. We better be.
Now, the other teams that's on that list, like the Seahawks, or who else is down there with them? Is it the Cowboys?
It's pretty much just it's like the Seahawks and then
Seahawks, Giants, Commanders.
You can't even say Falcons anymore because they just lost.
And you hope it's going to be one of those NFC East teams, And I expect one of them to bomb out. I really do. Like win the 1 out of the last 5 or 2 out of the last 5 or lose out.
That's what we needed. That's what we needed, but they went and tied each other. They both got a half a win. That was so devastating to the Lions making the playoffs. That was the biggest thing. Now Seattle's 7th seed right now. So if we want to make the 7th seed, not only are we 2 games behind Seattle, they have the upper edge on us. That's 3 games. So they play the Rams. We expect them to lose it was the most detrimental. The Commanders are right there. We needed the Rams to win. Everyone was like, give me the pick. I don't care. Man, that pissed me off so much, dude. I can't even explain to you guys how much I was ready to start. And I will still quote when we miss the playoffs, when we're 9-8 or 10-7 and we miss the playoffs. All right. And the Seahawks won both those games and everyone's so pissed that we didn't make the playoffs. Well, at least we got a 3rd round. At least we got the 3rd overall pick from the Rams. It's all right, guys. Brad Holmes will find someone with the 6th overall pick if they beat the Seahawks. I promise you that. I promise you. What won't happen is that the Seahawks will continue to make win because they don't have the hardest schedule, and they're a good team, and they're going to knock us out of the playoffs. So even if we win out 10 games, there's a chance we don't make the playoffs. It's stupid to hear people on Twitter say that they would rather the Rams lose, even if that means the Lions don't make the playoffs, just so they can have a higher draft pick. That is the same bullshit Lions fandom that I've listened to for 30 years. That is a disgrace, which is why I fucking wanted to come and why we started this show. So it wasn't so fucking toxic. Every time you get on Detroit Lions fucking social media or you listen to Detroit Lions radio talk or anything like that, it's the most toxic energy in the world. Vote for wins, vote to get in the playoffs, vote for now, vote for this season. Stop rooting for the Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, who God knows who he's gonna be. God knows. Give me Jalen Carter. He's gonna be good as Levi Onwuzurike. He's gonna be better. He's gonna be the best player. Man, you can't predict that shit. What you can't predict is getting in the playoffs. That can happen. That can happen. Jameson Williams is going to be the best wide receiver. We haven't seen it. We don't know. All this is just potential. But what's not potential is getting in the playoffs. That can happen. That is stuff that can physically happen. That's brick and mortar right there. That can happen.
Well, I will say the Commanders, obviously, they could tie again and, both end up not winning out. But I could honestly see both these teams not winning a single game again because they did tie once. So they could tie again. So, the Commanders, I think
that's like drunk goggles when you're at the bar and you have I think all these girls look pretty good looking. No, and they're going to win. They're good teams. They're going to win games. Even if it's like divisional games, Eagles, Cowboys, might be
Commanders other than the Giants, the Commanders have the 49ers, the Browns, and the Cowboys.
The Browns is an easy win.
0-3.
They're beating the Browns. The Browns are the worst team. The only reason the Browns won is because they played the worst team in the NFL.
That's very true.
Garbage.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
They're winning one. They're beating the Browns. Stop looking at it like drunk fans. Look at it like an NFL fan.
We'll see.
No, it's not.
You were the one
that happened. And what happened was that everyone was like, I think the tie might help everybody. let's just all tie, everyone.
I like
The
it's
dumbest
almost
thing
like
I'd ever
you
heard someone on Twitter say was, I think the tie helped. Someone told me the tie helps us. You're the dumbest person I ever heard on Twitter, and it pissed me off to read that.
Had we lost to both of them and had 2 other wins, it would have helped. But we already own the tiebreaker over both of them. So therefore, even if one of them falls out, the other one will still own a tiebreaker over that we already own the tiebreaker over, if that makes sense, because we'll be 10-6, 10-7, and they'll be 10-6. You get
6-1 now.
Yeah, so they'll have a tie instead of a win, and we'll have a win instead of a tie, or vice versa. But
yeah, we better win, and they better lose something, because right now we do not. So another dumbest thing I ever saw on Twitter: we control our own destiny. Nope, we don't. Nope, we need them to lose. We do not control. We do not control our destiny. That is not. If we win every single game and every other team wins every single game, we aren't in the playoffs. That's not us controlling our destiny. That literally is the wrong verbiage for we control our destiny. You dumbasses. God, Twitter's full of them, dude. And it's got me pissed off. After a win, it's the Victory Monday. I shouldn't be pissed, but I am.
Exactly. Amen to that. All right. What else we got to talk? Let's talk Vikings game. How the next, take it one game at a time, like you're saying, Julius. Well, the Lions were favored now. The original line started off, it was kind of like a pick 'em. The Vikings were -1. It's since then flipped to the Lions -1.5. So we are on a bit of a cover streak. I think the Lions have covered their last 6 straight games. Something pretty nice, though, if you're a betting man. But all in all, -1.5 is essentially probably a pick 'em. This game could get to 2. But the big storyline of this game, I would have to say at least, is TJ Hockenson, baby. He's coming back home, which will be kind of weird seeing him in the purple and gold instead of Honolulu blue. But, man, it would be so nice to just see him be shut down, the Lions win this game, and, you see our rookies, or Brock Wright even scores a touchdown, or James Mitchell scores a touchdown, or something like that. Or maybe James Mitchell, 100 yards and a touchdown, Lions win, TJ Hockenson held to 2 catches, 17 yards. Ideal victory right there. Just drew it up. Julius, give me some thoughts.
I mean, hopefully it works out like that. Vegas favoring the Lions, right? The Lions are 5-7.
It's
the
weird.
Vikings are 9-3, correct? Or 10-2.
10-2.
What they're good. They have a good record, and the Lions have a bad record. How are the Lions favored? I'll tell you why. The same reason I believe the Lions gonna hand it to the Vikings. 1, the Lions are healthy. They have a healthy roster. 2, they're firing on all cylinders. Jared Goff is on fire. With Amon-Ra St. Brown, who Nick mentioned, is probably the best receiver in the whole league right now. Jameson Williams, he didn't even have to do nothing in his first game. He just warming up. He gonna catch somebody off guard, and it might be the Vikings secondary. Watch out, Cameron Dantzler. Also, DeAndre Swift is back.
Swift could be back.
He's back. DeAndre Swift is back and running behind top 3 offensive line. Shout out to the offensive line. Dominating at the line of scrimmage. 5 straight games. They did it against the Bills, too. And on defense, Aaron Glenn just flipped the switch. I guess in the last 5 or 6 games, he just turned his whole defense around.
It's weird.
He might be going in the offseason. So that's why they're favored by Vegas, which so rarely happens, where a bad record Lions team is favored to a team with a good record like the Vikings. It's crazy.
It is. It almost screams like trap, because the Lions have been so hot, and the Vikings, honestly, they probably should have lost against that Jets game. If the Jets had Breece Hall in that game, I can guarantee you they win. Because
the Vikings are the luckiest team in the NFL, by the way. The luckiest
great
team in
point, too.
8 of their wins are by 1 point or less. 1 point. 1 point.
Well, I believe, Julius, maybe not now. They might be dead even, but I think they are actually even. Don't quote me on this. They were last week. They had a negative plus-minus margin, being, I think, 9-2 or whatever. And it was I saw some stat. It was the best 9-win team for the first 13 weeks of the season or whatever, to have a losing or a negative plus minus turnover deficit. So the Vikings, yeah, they're one of these teams that just they come out on the right side of that coin toss, and perhaps they are a team of destiny, because we've seen teams like this, the Giants, the Eagles, teams come out of nowhere and just granted they have been winning, but they do this and they just kind of get the easy tough whatever wins. But yeah, Julius, you make a great point. There's a lot of these games where it's like, man, they got lucky. That whole Bills game, that was like, they got lucky so many different times. If it was the Gabe Davis missed drop, if it was all sorts of stuff. But nonetheless, I do think the Lions can beat this team. We showed we could beat them the first time, and we were on the road too. And granted, they have TJ Hockenson now. We don't. I'm not sure how much TJ Hockenson did in that game. I will pull up in a minute while you're going, Nick. So I'm going to make my prediction right off the bat. I do think we get this win. I do think we cover. The over-under is set at 53.5, which is pretty high, but we covered. We hit that against the Jaguars. I think the Vikings are to score some points. I don't think we're going to be able to, skunk them or wrestle them down like we did the Giants and the Jaguars. So I'm going to go 31 to 21. We're going to have a nice old-fashioned Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins shootout, Lions victory. Nick, give me some thoughts. Is TJ Hockenson scary? Do you think he's going to go ballistic or something? Is that in the back of your mind?
Detroit Lions allowed the third most touchdowns to the tight end position this year.
That's right.
They've allowed the sixth most passing yards to the tight end position this year. They've allowed the third most points fantasy-wise to the opposing tight end this year. Do I think TJ Hockenson has a good revenge game? Yes. I'm sorry. We can't cover tight ends. That's why Evan Ingram scored a touchdown. That's why he's one player to score a touchdown last week. We're just not that good against tight ends. We'll figure that out. That's something we'll come around with. We need linebackers. We need our safeties. We're young. We're figuring all that out. It would be better if Tracy Walker was playing, in my opinion, but it is what it is. It'll be okay. Is TJ Hockenson going to win the game for the Vikings? No. Just like he would never have been winning the games for the Detroit Lions, which is why I said I was very okay with the trade at the very beginning, because a top 5 tight end does not move the needle enough for a team. It shows since we've been 5-6 or 5 of 6, 5-1 since we traded them. Now the Vikings are +10, plus minus. They get to get back in the positive. Can anyone guess what the Lions are without looking it up?
-12.
Julius, you gotta give me something.
This is the turnover margin or the point differential?
Point differential.
Oh, point differential. Wait.
You think our turnover margin's -12, bro?
They're -3.
Actually,
point
I'll
differential.
never reevaluate.
Okay.
Mine, I'll say minus. Oh, that was a big one. I'll say +2.
+2, -3, other way around. It is -9, but that was a huge jump. With obviously with 26, we were -35 last week, and now we're -9. So a huge jump with that one. Another big win against Minnesota by 8 points, by 10 points, gets us in the positive. That would be really fun. We played the Vikings on the road, and we played them well, and we should have won. That was the biggest bonehead Dan Campbell game, and I'm pretty sure if we look it up, we call it the Dan Campbell L. I believe that was the name of our show, because I believe he went on fourth down 7 different times. I believe he went or maybe even like punted on the most.
Punted it the exact same spot earlier that game. Same exact outcome. Fox put it on the 2-yard line.
Yeah. And then we go for it, whatever it may be. So yeah, it was just a really boneheaded Dan Campbell move. That was the game that seemed like it took it out of Dan Campbell. It lionized him. We then went on this bad losing streak, and it seemed like like Julius aforementioned earlier in the show, we were about to get rid of him. That dude was on the hot seat. We did not want him back next year. It was embarrassing to have him as our coach at this point. He turned it around. He turned it around for the great. Do I think that means that we're just going to blow up Minnesota? No, it's still going to be a tough game. Divisional games are always tough games. I think they're lower scoring the second go around than they are the first go around. First go around was 28-24, 52 points.
That would be a cool
taking the under.
That'd be a cool stat. If someone could pull that stat.
Yeah, I have no idea if that's a true stat or not, but it seems like it could be. I'll say it with confidence.
Someone should totally get that. Divisional opponent's second game. What's the plus minus margin?
Someone's got a lot more time than I have. Should figure that out. But I just think this game's going to go under. I do think the Lions pull away the win, but it will be one of these 1-point games. It'll be one of these 1-point games that the Vikings have been on top of all this season, right? I like that. I'm sorry. That's a pause moment right there with them. I had to take I was wondering why everyone like this is staying up for so long. Normally I don't read them while I'm talking, but way to be, Abe. We love you. So now I lost my complete train of thought. Lions are going to win this 1-point game get on the opposite side of the Vikings where they've been on such a good side. 24-23 Detroit Lions. Game-winning field goal, down 23-21, and Bagley puts up a 52-yarder to win the game.
Oh,
call it.
I love it. All right, is this like a 4th and 1? Dan Campbell kicks the field goal again moment, or is this like a 4th and 7? We have to kick the field goal.
Doesn't matter. End of game.
Okay.
No time left.
All right.
We do everything. Jared Goff does everything he can to get us down to the 38-yard line with 3 seconds to go. Spikes it.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this was with Stafford, but there was a game where like Kirk Cousins scored the last touchdown. He was like doing you like that. It might have been when he played with Washington. That's how long ago.
Yeah, he was with Washington back then.
Okay, but Lions did. We know how to give him the last second touchdown to pull the old. Oh, he almost had this one. So, Julius,
I've never seen Goff do it. I know the Lions can do it, but I've never seen Goff do it.
So no, that's a little bit too tense for my taste.
I don't want that, but that's just what I think is going to happen.
Those high tense moments. I'm going to predict a big win for the Lions, honestly, in the beginning of a new era, because I feel like this game is kind of like the Bills game, where it's like the final. It's like if we would have beat the Bills, we would have already been feeling the way we feel after we just beat the Jags. But we were saying. We were worried. We were like, oh, hopefully they don't lose to the Jags and just ruin the season like old Lions teams have passed. But now we're a little bit more confident than we were before after that Bills loss. So. And we played the Vikings already, you know what I'm saying? And everything is moving. Jeff Okudah is locked down.
Yeah.
Jefferson last time. Knock on wood. In the first game on the road, Jeff Okudah held Jefferson at like 3 catches for like 30
3 catches,
yards.
16 yards. Yeah.
And if you go look up Okudah's stats the last 5 games, they're not even throwing to him no more. He's starting to have his own little island out there, and it's great to see. So I'm picking the Lions that had scored 34 points because we got a big-time offense, baby, and we're going to pound the ball. It's going to be a big rushing day on the ground. 34, Lions 34, Vikings 17.
Honestly, the Vikings defense is so garbage. The last 4 or 5 weeks, they let Mike White and the Jets put up 22 points. They let the Patriots and Mac Jones put up 26 points. The Cowboys put up 40. The Bills put up 30. Like, the Cardinals put up 26. Like, if we aren't coming away with less than 30, I'm pissed. I don't care if it's division. We splitting 30 on this team. 40 burger, 2 weeks in a row.
James Houston, Aiden Hutchinson, get after Kurt. Get after Kurt.
And then also, I will say,
he's such a good quarterback. He gets that ball.
If you do look at their Dolphins win, the Vikings, they played Skylar Thompson, so a lot different than Tua.
A little bit. Well, not last week's Tua.
Nonetheless, we're getting the dub this week. Lions, I think we should not easily get this, but this is a game that us Lions fans come in feeling like, yeah, we should get this done. And hopefully it's not one of the classic letdowns. This is a big game too, because we're coming off a big win. And if we can handle the Vikings, Lions community is going to be at a peak high. If we see the Giants lose to the Vikings or to the Eagles, which they should, and the Lions just handle the Vikings, even beat them, hop on Twitter, Lions fans. It's going to be a fun ride. So all in all, we'll be on there at Honolulu Blues, tweeting out all the goodness. I'll be tweeting out myself at Everyday FFB. Julius, always tweeting out bangers at the Fifth Top. And Nick, for fantasy football questions and all sorts of good stuff. Nick Faber, NFL. As always, check us out on Spotify, YouTube. Give us all the likes, subscribes. We love it all. And check out the pin tweet right now. We got an Amon-Ra St. Brown signed mini helmet going on. So enter that giveaway. And as always, baby, go Lions.